How we feel in Canada? How are you doing after 24 hours post-election results? Where are you at? How you feeling? What is going on in that mind of yours? If I look at anywhere online, there's a lot of this happening. Pom, 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 pom. Your fault. That person's fault. That didn't happen. That should have happened. Everyone's upset and getting mad at each other. It was the influencers. It was the politicians. It was the people on TV. It was the mainstream media. It was everybody, anywhere. Because when results happen and it doesn't go in the favor that you're desiring, well, it's easy just to point the finger at what the problem you think is. No one thinks it's their fault. It's always somebody else's. And so I was going to be taking a break for a couple days because, I've been dang tired and it took a lot out of me to do that live stream the other night. And I'm, trying to catch up on some sleep, I should say. But after what I saw online yesterday, I felt something needs to be said. I think David did a fantastic job. Moose on the Loose dropped a hilarious video, and also a very real video, which I really appreciate him doing. And some other creators have been putting some stuff out. But we need to really think about what just happened. Right now, Liberals want a minority government, officially. Secondly, they are about to experience the people that voted for them. People who said elbows up. The people who said Trump's the problem, not the past 10 years government problem. Those people are about to find in very, very real time the mistake and the consequences of their actions. What do I mean? Well, let's just say Alberta just lowered the barrier conditions of getting a citizenship initiative pushed forward, making it even easier for a referendum to be triggered in Alberta to talk independence. That's happening. Quebec referendums are heating up. You have some of the largest players in the country saying, we're on our way out. Liberals thought this was a joke. They thought it was not going to happen. Even Mark Carney kept pushing and pressing and making fun of Danielle Smith, doing all the things, not taking it seriously. And it's about to get very, very real. And we're going to talk about all of that. But first, a message from our sponsor, an energy company here in Canada who's doing some great energy projects out of the East Coast, not the West, at the East Coast, and a really fun one they wanted to announce. They don't want your money. They don't want to sell you anything. They just want to let you know about a cool project they have undergoing on the East Coast in the Atlantic provinces. Great Atlantic Resources is poised to become the first in the world to deploy a cutting-edge AI-powered surgical non-invasive mining technology utilizing directional drilling with a 2.5-meter bore drill from the Netherlands. This breakthrough method will be implemented on its 100% owned package, which hosts an NI 43101 compliant high-grade gold resource and multiple high-grade gold veins extending over 30 kilometers. The property is located adjacent to Equinox's recently announced $2.6 billion gold merger, one of the most significant recent acquisitions in Newfoundland, if not Canada. Today, the company announced that they are currently drilling of the final guidance hole, marking the last step required to ensure the precise orientation of the bore drill before commencing the bulk sampling phase. This phase will target a large section of high-grade gold averaging over 10.4 grams per ton. The custom-built directional drill head is currently en route from Italy, while the bore drill itself is aboard a vessel from the Netherlands. Both are expected to arrive at port in Newfoundland during the first week of May. The company anticipates beginning the bulk sample program once the equipment is transported to the site and fully tested, likely within the next couple months. This innovative mining approach is being launched in the partnership with Digital Canada and Nova Amera. The program is fully funded, and if it's successful, will place hundreds of ounces of gold directly into the company's coffers, representing a non-dilutive financing. If you want to learn more, there is a link to the project in the article in the comments and as well as in the description if you want to check that out. Now let's get into the story, shall we? As I posted on X yesterday, I said that the east side of the country is about to find out and engage and understand the real definition of FOFO. Screw around and find out real quick of what is about to happen. We warned you this would happen if you decided to elect Mark Carney, even to a minority government. The West doesn't like him. He doesn't like the West. He wants to have full control over our economy and everything that happens. He is Justin Trudeau 2.0, a worse kind of version of Justin Trudeau. And he's going to engage and try to get things moving at a very high pace. Alberta knows this, and Danielle Smith has put them on notice. Listen to her announcement today about the Citizen Initiative.
We are expanding opportunities for Albertans to be involved in direct democracy by making changes to the threshold needed for successful citizens' initiatives. The signature collection time for citizens' initiatives will be extended from 90 days to 120 days. We are also improving the process by setting the threshold to be 10% of the number of eligible voters who participated in the last general election.
So what does this mean? Well, a citizen initiative can be started to maybe trigger something like referendum if Alberta should secede from Canada. What Danielle Smith announced here is a change to the threshold of what would constitute a successful citizen initiative. Previously, a successful citizens initiative on seeking independence required a 20% of total registered voters to sign, but now it will just need 10% of the voters that actually voted in the last election. This takes the success threshold from 587,952 signatures down to just 177,713 signatures, a reduction of almost 70% from the previously required success threshold. In addition, the time allotted to successfully collect the signatures has been increased from 90 days to 120 days, meaning they are setting up all the parameters possible to try and get this thing going and get it through, meaning Danielle Smith is very interested in having more pronounced Alberta independence. Does that mean they leave the country? What does it mean? We'll find out. But it's not good for the country as a whole. It's great for Alberta, bad for Canada. And they are being put on notice. And even so much that Danielle Smith put out a strong warning before the election. And, well, people think she was joking. Trump was more serious to them than this.
Sure. And the Liberal Party, I have one message. Alberta has had enough. Enough with Ottawa trampling over our provincial jurisdiction like Canada's Constitution doesn't exist. Enough with the meaningless virtue signaling climate policies that only make Canadians poorer and threaten our energy security. Enough of their screw the West, we'll take the rest mentality. Enough with their soft on crime policies that let repeat offenders roam the streets on bail. Enough with their unsafe supply, their open border policies, their censorship laws, the list goes on and on.
Get wrecked. The warning was clear. This is what's going to happen. You're going to stop trampling on our rights and you're going to stop trampling on our province, or else things could get real quick. And this is what's going to happen here. We have the Liberals that are at 169 seats for a minority government situation. Mark Carney can do deals with the NDP, do deals with the Bloc to try and get legislation passed in the House of Commons. We'll see what happens. But with pressure coming from Quebec, pressure coming from Alberta, we'll see if Mark Carney, the crisis prime minister, can divert from the real crisis. Not Donald Trump, but the actual dissolution and break and fragmenting of our country as it currently stands. We'll see if he can be able to dodge that. I have a feeling that he's not going to, because he loves power and control, as he's shown time and time again, and what we warned throughout the election campaign. But hey, who wants to listen to us? We don't know what we're talking about, right? He's going to give the CBC $250 million. That's all people need to know. We know money's going to be flowing. But nothing more annoying at times is the American podcasters doing a victory lap on Canadian conservative voters. PBD, Chris Pavlovski, and others have been saying, this is what they did wrong. This is what Poilievre should have done. He should have done this. And again, the finger pointing, this should have been, like, the consistent theme I hear from the Americans is Pierre Poilievre should have gone on more podcasts. He should have gone on Joe Rogan. He should have gone on Tim Pool. He should have gone on Stephen Crowder, just all of it. He ignored his base and he lost his base's votes. These people don't know what they're talking about. Stick to American politics. I'll be quite frank with you. Chris Pavlovski is the exception because he was born in Toronto, lived here for a significant amount of time. However, he is now down in the States running Rumble. And even that, I'm like, you don't really know what you're talking about. Let's talk about the tweet he had here. It says, why didn't Pierre Poilievre go on the largest North American live streams like Stephen Crowder, Tim Cast, The Vince Show? If he did those shows, his message would have been spread far and wide on social media without corporate media filtering. Instead, Canadians only saw Carney's message. And I feel like this was a very, very weak post, and so I had to take time to respond to it. And then I asked, why didn't Trump go on those shows? Trump never went on Crowder. Trump didn't go on Tim Pool. Trump didn't go on The Vince Show during the last election cycle. Why didn't he go on those? Trump only went on cultural, significant shows. Shows that weren't directly in the political circles, because he didn't need to go to those shows. He didn't need to talk to people who were already voting for him. It was a waste of time. So why would you expect that of Pierre Poilievre? Do I think Pierre Poilievre should have engaged better with culture? Because politics is downstream from culture. I think he needed to do a better job. But hindsight's 2020, right? But that was a very poor take, and we're seeing more and more of that. You should have gone on PBD. You should have gone on this. I'm not even going to make the regular arguments on that. From a purely cultural perspective, it made no sense. Not even Donald Trump did that. Yes, Donald Trump went on PBD is the exception of that. But there was no need to do it. It made no sense. He needed to go to the places that were neutral, where people went to, say, a comedy podcast, where people go to laugh and talk to people who like comedy. Maybe he went to, again, a Theo Von podcast, again, another comedic podcast. People go for comedy. So talk to people who like comedy. He went to Joe Rogan, who attracts a wide range of people with a variety of different interests, to talk to those people. He went to the neutral sites to try and draw on a lot of people. Pierre Poilievre, yes, the podcast, need to do podcasts. And he did a couple, which were, I would say, in the realm of neutral, but they weren't really large shows. But it's something that could be clipped up and so on so. But there wasn't a whole lot of thought to his alternative media strategy, and that was clear. But again, the finger pointing from the American podcasters is really funny to watch, and them tell us what they think happened when they are nowhere near to being here. So that was a little annoying. But I'll admit, the highlight of the night for me was Jivani being interviewed about Doug Ford and what Doug Ford and his people did to try and sabotage the Poilievre campaign, and how ridiculous it was what they were doing. And Jivani didn't mince any words and laid it on the line of what he felt about Doug Ford.
Congratulations, first of all.
Much. Yeah, we have a great team here in Bowmanville, Oshawa North. Very excited and happy to bring home a victory.
I do want to ask you, Mr. Jivani, because you've just spoken to your supporters, a large group that's here at the pub here in Bowmanville, North Oshawa, and you said to them, among other things, that Doug Ford was a problem for you in this campaign. You said that he sabotaged the Conservative campaign. That's your words. You said he was a hype man for the Liberals. Take me through how you see that.
Yeah, well, look, Doug Ford just went through an election. I have differences of opinion with him. I don't like how he's managed healthcare or education. But out of respect, we didn't say anything. Federal party, we didn't get in his way. When it was our turn to run an election, he couldn't stay out of our business, always getting his criticisms and all his opinions out, distracting our campaign, trying to make it about him, trying to position himself as some kind of political genius that we needed to be taking cues from.
Was it him specifically? Was it his campaign manager, Corey, tonight? Do you see Doug Ford as a problem for the federal party in the outcome of this race?
I see Doug Ford as a problem for Ontario and for Canada. I think he's not doing a great job in running this province, and now he's trying to exercise his influence over other levels of government, and it's not like this guy is doing anything particularly well. I mean,
you did used to work for him.
I did. I'm speaking from experience. I tried to fix problems in this province, and he kept getting in his way and all his goons around him all the time. They wouldn't make anything better, and now we're seeing him because this guy's a political genius because he beat Bonnie Crombie and Stephen Del Duca, and now we got to sit around getting advice from him? No. He has taken the provincial Conservative Party and turned it into something hollow, unprincipled, something that doesn't solve problems. He's glad-handing with Chrystia Freeland, having coffees and lattes with Mark Carney. And I'm sitting here saying we need to be fighting for change and something new and something different, not being a hype man to the Liberal Party.
And he goes on there, but I think that first half was just golden. He laid it completely out there of what he felt about Doug Ford. He's like, he needs to get out of his own way. He stunk. Didn't you guys work for him? Yes, I did work for him. He stinks. He was terrible. He had his goons around him. We thought they knew what they're doing. They are doing terrible work in the Ontario region and the province of Ontario, and he needs to mind his own business before I really come after him. And quite frankly, I would totally support someone like Jivani going in and displacing someone like Doug Ford and taking over the PC party in Ontario. It would be hilarious to watch. And don't ever get it twisted. I will never forget what Doug Ford did. We'll never forget what his henchmen have done. And I'm going to keeping it all in mind. But then we finish off with the NDP getting 7 seats. 7 seats. Wow, how the mighty have fallen, haven't they? And I successfully predicted that, which I was really stoked about. I guessed it on Sean Newman's show. There's like, how many seats do you think the NDP will get today? I was like, you know what? I'm feeling lucky. I'm going with lucky number 7. I actually didn't expect to get it. Then boom, they hit 7. I was like, didn't expect that to happen. But here we are, the NDP now begging Parliament to maintain their party status. And here he is on Vashi Capellos.
A quick question on sort of, I guess, what it looks like if you do end up, you do have enough seats to hold the balance of power. What do you envision that as looking like? And have you ruled out, for example, the kind of formal agreement that your party was in with the Liberals for 2 years?
Well, it's far too premature to rule in or rule out anything. I mean, we're just right now, we're just dealing with the results of the election. I expect our colleagues will meet in the next few days. We'll have to pick an interim leader, and then we'll have to begin the process of scheduling and organizing a leadership contest. In the meantime, there's all sorts of issues. Everything's negotiable in politics. And one of the things that I'm already thinking about is official party status. That number is arbitrary of 12. I know in BC last legislative session, the Greens secured official party status with, I think, 3 MLAs. And I think that's important because the NDP voice in Parliament is critical.
Yeah, maybe you should have thought of actually ousting your leader when you had the chance and then triggering an election. Maybe in the fall of this past year, maybe that would have been a great idea. Maybe you would have secured a little more than 12. Maybe you would have secured 25, 30, maybe 35 seats if you actually worked in good faith and actually ousted your leader. I know there's nothing in the party's constitution that allows you to oust a leader, and I know someone came forward with 30,000 signatures to have Singh step down, but quite frankly, it should have been a coup in that party, and there wasn't one. And now you have to clean up the mess that Jagmeet has made, and you have your 7 seats, no party status. Bye-bye. Good luck with that. There's some good things that came out of this election, didn't it? And last but not least, I just wanted to end off with this because, again, this was David's episode, Moose on the Loose, from yesterday morning, and obviously he went off. He was frustrated, like many people were. He was annoyed at what he's been seeing with the Carney and the Liberal government and how it's going to be allowed to continue to a degree. He was really upset with what happened in the Carleton riding with Pierre Poilievre and the 91 names on the ballot and the organization that forced that to happen. And this is what Mr. David had to say about that, and man, do I love his candor.
Pierre Poilievre's riding. Bruce Fanjoy getting 50% of the vote. Pierre Poilievre at 46. What has Bruce Fanjoy done in his life to get any of these votes? There's so many attacks on Poilievre. I'm hearing a lot of older people didn't know how to vote for him because there's 91 people on the ballot. We need to take aim at that organization. We need to seek vengeance against them. That longest ballot initiative, I'm coming for you. I'm going to look up every single person on there. Buckle up, bitch. Something else.
Oh my gosh, David killed. I told him straight up. I actually clipped that, posted on X yesterday. And I probably watched that well over 100 times and laugh every single time. Buckle up, snitches. Holy jumping. I love the energy. As someone who's emotional myself, I get fired up. It's amazing to see. And it was a wild time yesterday, or 2 days ago, right? The election has come and passed. It came to a result that you weren't expecting and weren't enjoying. There's a lot of people who are frustrated, pointing the fingers, getting mad, getting angry. I can see it in my sub count. People are taking out their frustration on me, which I'm okay with that. It's expected. It happened to all the left-wing influencers in the States after Trump had won. Everyone started unsubbing from these channels because they felt some sort of way that maybe they felt lied to, maybe they felt gaslit, maybe they're just tired, maybe they're done with it. Anyway, everyone has their different reasons. I don't take it personally. I get it. I understand. Sometimes I just need to turn it all off and just forget this. This is annoying. I feel like I got screwed, and pressing this unsubscribe button would make me feel something. And so I understand. I get where it comes from. And again, I don't take it personally. I think it's a very interesting behavior seeing it happen. I saw it happen in the States, and it's happening to our channel here now too. It all comes back around. It's not a big deal. However, this is what I've been saying. We have liberal minority government, and I'm just seeing how the relationships are building between the NDP and Liberals again, or the NDP or the Liberals and the Bloc. From what we're seeing, this could be a very short-lived government. I believe we're going to see something within the next 18 months that we'll be back to the polls. Carney doesn't really show to me that he likes to play well with others. He doesn't know politics. He knows how to negotiate in a boardroom where it goes his way no matter what. He doesn't know how to negotiate in politics. And I think he's going to tick off a lot of people, and he's not going to get a whole lot done. And we will see what happens. However, it's going to get very interesting very quickly. And if we're going back to the polls in 18 months, I know people are going to be like, well, it takes too much time. We need to get projects going now. I'm like, I hear you. The problem is, okay, we have the Quebec referendum coming up. Alberta's trying to get a referendum going. Those are two big players in our country that are looking to bye-bye, see you later, Canada. That's going to really fast forward the need for something to happen and something to give. Either Carney gives in or we're going to the polls. That is what I'm seeing. So what happened 2 days ago? Just game one. If we're right now in playoff season for basketball and hockey, right? It was just game one. Liberals won game one. The game is far from over. Poilievre's going to go into a safe riding by-election, win it, get a seat back in the House. He's going to continue leading this party, and he's on the precipice. Trump gets out of the way and all that BS happens and he can run a good, solid election and try to recalibrate and do some things differently, it'll all come out in the wash at the end of the day. I'm not worried about it. It's all a part of the game. Instead of just reporting on the facts and reporting on the news, which I think is important, we're still going to do that. We're also going to help you figure out how to adapt to the world that we are currently living in. Because right now it's about to get very, very hairy. It's about to get very bumpy. Lots of uncertainty in the country is coming up. And investors don't like uncertainty. For a crisis economist, he's going to have a lot of choppy waters to figure out. And I don't think he's going to be able to figure it out. And we'll be back to the polls fairly soon, folks. So I love you guys. You guys are awesome. We're going to keep this party going and have yourselves a good one. And as for me, I'm out.